She thought it was just another normal day, but her life was about to change forever. Ananya was a smart, middle-class girl living in a quiet town in India. That day, she came home from college just like always, tired, carrying her books, and thinking about her exams. But the moment she stepped inside her house, something felt different. There were three strangers sitting in her living room, a well-dressed couple and a young man she had never seen before. Her mother, who usually wore a simple cotton sari, was dressed in silk, smiling nervously. "Ananya, you're late," her mother said quickly. "Go, freshen up and wear the green salwar I kept on your bed." Ananya was confused. "Mummy, who are they?" Her mother whispered, "Just go. I'll explain everything later." Still shocked, Ananya went to her room. Her green salwar kameez was neatly placed on the bed, along with matching earrings. She had worn it last at her cousin's wedding. "Is this a marriage proposal?" she whispered to herself. She got dressed and came back, trying to stay calm. Her eyes kept going to the young man in the white shirt. He looked decent, polite, maybe even a little nervous. Her father spoke, breaking the silence. "Ananya, beta, this is Dr. Arjun. He works in London. His parents are our old friends. They've come with a proposal." Ananya's heart started beating faster. She looked at Arjun. He gave a small smile. "Hi, Ananya. I know this is sudden, but I just wanted to meet you before saying anything. I hope you're okay." She nodded slowly. Her voice barely came out. I didn't know this was happening today." They spoke alone for a few minutes in the balcony. Arjun didn't say much, but his tone was soft. He wasn't showing off. He wasn't rude. Just honest. "I'm not here to force anything," he said. "But if you're okay, I'd like to know you better." That one sentence stayed in her heart. And just like that, everything changed. In 10 short days, the wedding took place. Relatives came, songs were played, tears were shed. The middle-class girl who never dreamed of London was now the wife of a London-based doctor. As the wedding ended, her mother hugged her and whispered, "Your new life starts now, Ananya. Be strong. Believe in yourself." Ananya didn't know what waited for her across the ocean. But her story, her real story, was just beginning. She had only seen him for a few days, and now she had to build a life with him, thousands of miles away. After the wedding, everything felt like a dream. Guests left. The lights were removed. The house became quiet again. But inside Ananya's heart, a storm was building. Just 5 days after the wedding, Arjun had to return to London for work. There was no time for a honeymoon. No time to understand each other deeply. Ananya stood at the airport, holding back her tears as Arjun looked at her with concern. "I'll be back soon," he said gently. "And you'll join me there soon too." She smiled faintly and nodded. But the truth was, she was scared. Days turned into weeks. Ananya stayed in India while her visa papers were being processed. Every night, Arjun called her. Their conversations were simple, about food, about her day, about his hospital shifts. But slowly, those talks became something she looked forward to. She began to understand his soft heart, his gentle care. He never forced her to become someone else. He just wanted her to be happy. She smiled more now. She started writing a diary. Maybe this marriage isn't so bad after all. After 2 months, her visa arrived. Her parents hugged her tightly at the airport. Her mother packed her a bag full of homemade snacks and a handwritten note that said, "Don't forget who you are." London was huge, cold, and fast. When Ananya walked into Arjun's house for the first time, she froze. The home was big, white walls, stylish furniture, scented candles. Everything looked expensive. She felt like she didn't belong there. Arjun welcomed her with a warm hug. "You're finally home," he said with a smile. She smiled back, but a small fear was growing inside her heart. In the beginning, everything was sweet. Arjun took her around the city, helped her adjust, introduced her to his doctor friends. But at home, it wasn't so perfect. Her Nanad, sister-in-law, mocked her simple clothes. Her mother-in-law made rude comments. Arjun should have married someone equal, a doctor, not a girl from a small town. Even though Arjun stood up for her sometimes, she still felt alone. Ananya had no job, no friends, and no one to talk to. She started cooking, cleaning, doing everything to please them. But it was never enough. At night, when Arjun slept, she silently cried on her pillow. "Is this the life I was meant to live? A guest in my own house." One day, while cleaning her drawer, she found her old drawing pencil. It reminded her of the time when she used to sketch for hours in India. She picked up a plain notebook and started drawing again. Slowly, her heart felt a little lighter. She didn't tell anyone, not even Arjun. But for the first time in weeks, she smiled. She didn't know it yet, but this simple pencil would soon change her life. She came to London with dreams in her heart, but no one told her how lonely dreams can feel in a big house. London was beautiful, but cold in more ways than just weather. Arjun left early in the morning for the hospital and came home tired at night. He was kind, yes, but busy. The house was silent during the day, and her heart often felt the same. Every morning, Ananya looked in the mirror and whispered to herself, "Smile. You're lucky. You have a good husband." But something inside her didn't feel right. The house was big and filled with everything except warmth. Her Nanad, who also lived there, often passed rude comments like, "Oh, you've never seen a dishwasher before? So cute." Or, "In London, we don't wear village-style suits." Ananya pretended not to hear. Her mother-in-law was no better. At breakfast, she once said, "My son deserved someone with status. Another doctor, not just a degree." That word, just, hurt more than a slap. Ananya felt like she was shrinking day by day. Even though Arjun tried to protect her, he couldn't be there all the time. She was living in a luxurious house, but inside, she felt like a guest. One afternoon, while unpacking her suitcase, Ananya found her old sketchbook. It was dusty, half filled with pencil drawings of faces, flowers, and dreams. Her hands trembled as she touched the pages. She hadn't drawn in months. She sat by the window, picked up a pencil, and slowly began to sketch again. Just lines at first, then shapes, then expressions. Her eyes filled with tears, not from sadness, but from remembering who she was before the world tried to change her. The next day, she searched on YouTube. How to paint portraits for beginners. She watched videos quietly when no one was around. She started learning shading, brushwork, color balance. Each day, she got better. Her heart felt lighter. Her breathing slowed. She felt alive again. One evening, Arjun found her sitting with a broken pencil and a small paper canvas. "What are you doing?" he asked, surprised. She hesitated. "I was just drawing. I used to do it back in India." He sat beside her and looked at her sketch. It was a beautiful portrait of a mother holding her child. "You're really good," he said softly. "Why didn't you tell me?" She gave a small smile. I didn't think it mattered anymore. The next morning, Arjun came home from the art shop with brushes, paints, canvas, and a soft box of colors. These are for you, he said. Paint the world you see. That was the first time in weeks, or she cried with happiness. Ananya had finally found a small place in this big world. And little did anyone know, the girl they once called simple was about to make headlines with her art. Sometimes, the quietest people create the loudest impact, without saying a single word. Weeks passed. Ananya's day started with tea and a quiet walk to the window where sunlight touched her little corner of peace. A small wooden table filled with her brushes, watercolors, and canvas. She painted every day. Faces, dreams, feelings, memories from India. She poured her heart into each stroke. Nobody in the house noticed, but her soul knew she was healing. In that one room, Ananya created magic. She painted emotions, loneliness, love, silence, strength. Her art didn't need language. It spoke everything she couldn't say out loud. One day, Arjun walked in early and saw a new painting. It was a portrait of a girl, half in color, half in pencil. The eyes looked exactly like Ananya's. He stood there quietly, touched. You've turned this house into your own world, he said softly. And I'm proud of you. She looked at him with surprise. He continued, let's show your world to others. A few weeks later, Arjun organized a small party at a local art cafe. He told her, some of my friends are coming. Just bring your paintings. Ananya hesitated. They're not good enough. But Arjun smiled. Let them decide. He helped her frame 10 of her best artworks. At the party, the walls were filled with her dreams, painted in silence. Doctors, families, even strangers came. They looked at her work with wide eyes. A woman stood in front of a painting and said, this one made me cry. A man walked to Arjun and asked, is your wife a professional artist? Can I buy this one? All 10 paintings were sold. Every single one. Ananya couldn't believe it. She had earned more in one night than she ever had in her whole life. But more than money, she earned respect. From strangers. From her husband. Even from her in-laws. Her Nanad, who once mocked her, now said, you should teach me how to paint. Her mother-in-law finally said, you've made this family proud. That night, as Arjun placed his arm around her shoulder, he whispered, your silence is beautiful, but your colors, they shout with power. Ananya smiled with tears in her eyes. For the first time since she came to London, she felt seen. She was no longer just a middle-class girl. She was an artist, a woman of grace, a voice without a mic. She once cried alone in her room. Now her story was inspiring women across the world. After the art party, something inside Ananya changed. She no longer felt like a guest in London. Now, she felt like she belonged. Every morning, she woke up with purpose. Not for cooking, not for impressing anyone, but for herself. Her room was now her art studio. Her hands moved like magic across every canvas. And slowly, the world started noticing. Arjun suggested one day, why don't you start an art page on Instagram or maybe YouTube? Ananya hesitated. Me? On YouTube? What will I even say? He smiled. You don't need to say much. Let your art speak. So, she did. She started uploading time-lapse videos of her paintings. Simple titles. Soft music. No fancy editing. And people began to watch. One comment said, this helped me during my depression. Another said, "You inspired me to start painting again." Thousands of views, then millions. Ananya was invited to more art exhibitions in London. She started selling her paintings online, and they sold like magic. She launched her own art course for beginners and started earning from her passion. Now, her time was divided between art, emails, YouTube recordings, and planning her next big piece. The same girl who once sat in a silent room crying now had fans across countries. Her story was featured in a local London magazine. The Indian artist who paints emotions. One afternoon, her Nanad came into her room and said softly, "Didi, I never said it, but I'm sorry." Ananya looked up, surprised. Her Nanad continued, "You proved everyone wrong. Even me. Can you teach me to paint too?" And Ananya smiled. Her mother-in-law also changed. She began offering help in her art exhibitions and even introduced her proudly to relatives as "my daughter-in-law, the famous artist." The house that once made her feel small now echoed with respect. For her biggest exhibition yet, Ananya painted something very special. A girl sitting quietly in a corner, surrounded by a storm. But behind her was a wall full of bright colors, dreams, and light. She named the painting "The Girl Who Spoke Through Silence." It won the International Art Peace Award. When she held the award, she looked at Arjun, then at the audience, and said just one line. "In a world that wanted me to stay quiet, my art gave me a voice." And that's all I needed. Dear listeners, no matter who you are, where you come from, what people think of you, learn a skill, master your passion, and let your actions speak louder than anyone's doubts. Like Ananya, you don't need to shout. Just build something so beautiful that the world stops to listen. Ananya's story reminds us that silence isn't weakness, it's often a sign of hidden strength waiting to bloom. So, no matter how small your world feels right now, pick up a skill, practice it with love, and let it build a new life for you. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Speaking Tree for more real, emotional, and motivational stories. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a new story. Let's grow this tree of inspiration together.